Welcome to Successful Living. We're here today with Chad Kritzis from HomeSmart Real Estate. And Chad's going to talk a little bit about what COVID-19 has done to his business, where we're looking in the future of the real estate market. And if you're in the market right now for either buying or selling, what does that look like? Some of us don't know what that looks like, and that can feel uncomfortable. But Chad's here to kind of tell us a little bit more about how that process runs smoothly in this time. So Chad, welcome.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate you having me. Little outside the studio norm, but still pretty cool.
I know. Yeah. No, it's great that we can do this, and maybe we'll be doing this long term. But in any case, I know. Can you tell us just in general, without getting into the changes, what is the market like right now, the real estate market?
So it's a little bit of, obviously everything's unique right now, right? So I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Well, we're seeing it, we're recording this in May, and we're in the middle of what we consider the spring market. So that, in our world, is the busiest time of the year. So the buyers are still out, and the buyers are still looking, and the buyers that are out looking are the most serious type of buyers. If they're going out to look at homes, they're serious about buying the homes. The issue we're running into is that people are not listing their homes at the velocity that they usually would in a spring market. So you still have very qualified buyers trying to buy homes, but there's just less homes coming to the market. Second to that is a lot of the homes that are on the market either are being withdrawn because people don't want them in their homes. So we're really at a monumental, I guess that's the right word, low of inventory right now, just a complete need of homes for sale.
So the demand is actually still there, is what you're saying, right?
The demand, the sales numbers are right on course. I mean, they're within 5% of where we were last year. Some towns are a little up, some towns are a little down, but the inventory all around is down, and that's the issue. We had a house in Middletown last week. We kind of talk about how we're doing showing stuff, but we had 12 groups through and multiple offers.
Wow.
So we put another house under contract this morning for $2.5 million that's been sitting on the market for almost a year.
All right. So tell us about, what is the process? So let's go first with obviously someone who wants to sell their house. Mm-hmm. Let's just go with who wants to buy and who wants to sell. And how's the process working now? I mean, for me, before this, or when this all started happening mid-March, I'm thinking, hey, the real estate market's going to go absolutely, in the hole. And like you said, the demand is still there. The inventory is not, and therefore the prices really don't seem to be dropping a ton. So, I mean, what is the process? So for me, if I was going to either buy or sell my house, I'm thinking exactly what you said. I'm scared someone's going to be in my house, but I want to see this house before I spend $500,000 on something.
Right. So there's two sides of that. So the seller side is the fear of somebody walking around their home. We have a number of listings that came on the market this week and some that are coming on next week that are vacant. That's very easy. We listed one yesterday as well in Middletown that's vacant. So we're able to give the agent the lockbox code and not have to attend the showing. For instance, we had a number of closings this week, and we are not at that point considered instrumental to a closing. We've already pretty much done our job, and they're at the table signing. So we actually haven't been attending closings the last few months. I saw a Newport lawyer yesterday did a closing. He brought the package out to the buyers in their car, and they sat on Bluetooth and talked them through each form one at a time. He brought them out gloves and pens and everything else, and they were posting pictures. It was actually, humorous, I guess, but they did the closing from the front seat of the car in his parking lot. Wow. So things like closings and such, we're not really attending at this point. I have another one today. We're not going to. It's just the seller and the buyer signed power of attorney. So the closing side's completely changed, where we don't all kumbaya around a closing table and hold hands and cheer. So that's changed. The buy side, or what the one in Middletown that I mentioned at 12 showings, what we're doing is first off, it's really, we got to escalate the technology in the business we're using. Now, a lot of us use a lot of technology already, like as I'm sure you do. But virtual tours, videos, floor plans, websites, as much as we can do to cipher out the buyers before they get to the house. We want to know that they walked through the video. We want to know that they like the floor plan. We want to know they've driven by and like the location. If they're going inside the house, we want to take out all the objections before they get there, so we can really, minimize the contact between buyers and sellers as much as possible. The one we did in Middletown, I keep mentioning just because it's a good example. We had an agent stationed out front with gloves and masks. The seller opened the doors, turned on all the lights, Cloroxed everything down, he went out for 2 hours, and we scheduled people on 20-minute intervals, and we stood at the door and regulated who was going in and out. So just the buyers and their agent, if the agent wants to go in, and that's it. You know, we ask to leave the kids at home if you don't need to bring the kids, or if you want to come back and forth without the kids. I mean, I watched a couple walk into Home Depot yesterday with you know, a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old throwing their masks all over the floor.
Yeah.
You know, I think if you don't need to bring, you know, really minimal who we're bringing. I did a showing the other day, and the agent and I both had masks on. We also did a walkthrough the other day where I just waited outside. I mean, the agent walked the buyers through the home before they closed, and really we're just trying to minimize the social distancing. There's no need for me to follow them around because there's no problems.
Yeah.
So we really just kind of spread out the best we could, and I just waited in the driveway in case there was any issues.
Yeah. I mean, I think you make a really valid point. I really didn't think about this, but you're really getting to people that are serious, and nobody's just dipping their toe in the water of, oh, I want to sell or I might want to buy. So it seems like it rings true that you get people that, okay, they got to take a little extra effort here, but that probably means that they are more serious about buying or selling.
The sellers are the same way as the buyers. I mean, if their house is on the market right now, they're very serious about selling.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. So, all right, so let's, kind of finish up a little bit. Who knows? Everyone asks me in my industry, what's the stock market going to do, right? So, I mean, who knows? So I think, my question would be twofold to you. And I think the first part is, what has this pandemic done to the real estate market from a point of view that you see carrying forward? So once now social distancing starts being eased, where are we going with, the way you do your job now? And is that better or worse? So what things do you see that you've had to be so tight with it right now? Now that there's some loosening, is there something that's going to now, do you foresee change in the way you do business?
Yeah, I think there's two parts to that. There's a long-term and the short-term changes, right? I think short-term for the next few months, you're not going to see public open houses where you just, say, hey, come on in our house. Come on, everybody, come on in. You put signs and balloons all over the place. Some guy's driving by, and just pulls in because he needs to use a restroom. So I think right now public open houses are probably going to be closed, for the short term. Once again, really instituting technology and trying to make sure that if you're coming in the home, I think for the time being, we're still going to see a shortage of inventory. We have a great home in Portsmouth. They're a retired couple, and they just don't want anybody in their house. I mean, it's 8:50, and we have people calling every day to get into it, and they just don't want anybody inside. So I think as it starts lightening up, we'll be a little more flexible with the showings. But that's the short term. Long term, we're still in this shortage of inventory, really low interest rates. And I'm watching, there's almost as many homes being withdrawn every day as there are going pending under contract to close. So it's really, the whole market is just, everything's kind of leveled, and there's not enough homes for people to buy. So I think as people start lightening up, the concern on the other side of that is, what if we get a whole slew of listings hit the market all at once because the governor says, hey, the doors are open, right. Go do whatever you want.
And you get too much inventory.
That's going to change for the sellers, because now the sellers are fighting with more inventory, which will then change it over. But right now, I think, as I've been saying with you for months, we are in probably one of the tightest sellers markets I've ever seen, just for lack of homes for sale for this time of the year.
Yeah. All right. Kind of as we come to a closing, any advice that you would give to people that are watching this, if they're either thinking about selling their home or looking at buying a home? And I know you probably gave some information, but if you were kind of coaching them through, what would you tell them to do right now?
Well, I think if there's two parts. The buy side, if you're working with a buyer or a buyer's watching this, make sure to go out and get your pre-approval letter, get everything ready in advance. I had a conversation with one of my agents this morning, and he said, well, can I require a pre-approval letter before they come in? Because my seller wants to know if they're coming in, they're approved. So I would have if you're buying a property, have all your ducks in a row. If there's 12 showings and 2 offers, you don't want to wait 3 days for pre-approval letter. But the listing agent also wants to know that you're ready to roll and they don't have to wait for you. So that's my biggest advice on the buy side, is have all the ducks ready, have everything in a row, and be ready to go if you find the house you love. From the sell side, if you have the means to get your house on the market, now is the time to do it. The grass is green, the flowers are blooming, the pictures look great, the drones look great, everything looks great right now. And the buyers that are out there are serious. So if you have the means, if you have a vacant house or a house that you're not really panicked, you don't mind leaving for a couple hours and we'll Clorox the place down after the fact, this is one of the strongest seller markets I've ever seen. So this is a time to sell your house if you're comfortable to do so.
Great. That's some great information. And, I came into this interview, knowing very little, I think, in the real estate market. And I think you've shed some good light, and I think viewers will find this very helpful. So if anyone has any questions or whatever, they can go to foxprovidence.com. They'll be able to view this. And hopefully we'll get back in that studio. We're still airing our shows, 10:30 a.m. every Sunday on Fox Providence, with the hope that within the next few weeks, we'll be getting some fresh content on there. So everyone stay safe. Chad, thank you very much for your time.
Stay safe, man.
And we'll see you shortly. Thanks.
Thank you.